Simple to tie, versatile concept, functional and effective, catches loads of fish. Let's upgrade it a little bit more. Perdigon is a perfect fly. It is designed to be used in fast water to drop fast, and because it's longer in fishing zone, it catches more fish if fished appropriately. Idea behind it's simple. Its slender body and lack of another materials allows it to sink fast. Simple as that. Dry fly hook is here used to increase hookup rate. Logic is again simple. Thinner wire penetrates fish more easily. Now, it is debatable how much it really increases the hookup rate. But even if it's just one more fish, for competitors, it can be something that can help them win. So, is it possible to improve it a bit more? Well, I believe it can. I believe it can be improved. Classic and slotted beads, regardless of hook type, will close the gap more or less, but it's always pretty obvious. So closing the gap will decrease hookup rate. It is especially noticeable when oversizing beads. Then we close the gap even more. Now, solution is pretty much in front of us, and it's called jig off beads or off beads or whatever. Those will obstruct gate far less while at the same time allowing us to oversize, often to extremes. And hook shank will be also pretty free for us to tie more or less whatever comes to our mind, because we will push the bead forward, so the hook shank is almost unobstructed. Off beads are going to invert literally any hook, even dry fly hook, even wet fly hook that's like straight shank or curved hook, Camara's hook, whatever, it's going to be inverted. Now let's tie a fly with some unusual material that can give some nice effects. And remember, Perdigons are like canvas. One can do anything as long as fly is slim and without any materials that may slow it down. Now to tie this fly, I will use pretty simple materials. I will use Semperfly. It's 12/0 and it is in red because I want to use red as hotspot. I mentioned already that I will use dry fly hook. So R10B in size 16 by Gamakatsu. Quite unusual hook, but it is nice wire. It's like thickness of wire is just right. It's not too thin. It's normal wire, standard more or less. That's what they say. And it has this long point that allows like nice hookup rate. CDL by Whitening. I honestly don't like, well, I do like, but it is expensive to use original Coq de Leon or Jalo de Leon from Spain. So this one is going to work. I will use some UV glue with lamp. And I said I will use some unusual material. I will use moose mane. An idea came, well, I'm literally copying an idea from a friend Runar from Norway. So this is just a concept here, improving the jig off, well, improving the Perdigon nymph. So let me invert it, easier to tie. I'll start by fixing the bead, and usually, as you know, when I'm using those, I forgot to mention 2.8 jig bead. Usually I'm using nano silk or similar threads, and when I'm doing so, I'm making a figure of 8 around the hook eye, but now I'm gonna just push with the thread as much as I can. I'll just push the bead. Occasionally spin the bobbin holder counterclockwise to make the thread flat. I'll just push forward and then just create a little bit of taper. try to make this transition here as smooth as possible, and that's why using flat thread is beneficial. I'll use some super glue to make this a little bit tighter and more secured, and this is it. Now, because I have time, I'll just add a tiny little drop of super glue here. Just need to clean up the... Oops. Okay, tiny little drop over here. That's all I need. Just let it soak into the thread. I'll just move it a little bit to the center. It looks closed, the eye looks closed, but because I threaded the bead the opposite way, so I made this convex side facing towards the eye. Threading the tippet through the eye is going to be okay, don't worry about that. Actually, it's going to be easy. As long as you thread it here, the convex side of the bead will actually just make it slide out as you push it. Now, to put the tail where it belongs, I'll just take this feather, coq de lion. I'll expose a couple of barbs, like so, and just pull the rachis away from it, and that should give me aligned tips. Now, hook shank length more or less, and be smart, cut the butt ends in advance, like so. Spin the book and holder counterclockwise to allow the thread to jump into your fingers of your non-dominant hand that holds coq de lion fibers. And that's it. Now, when it comes to moose manes, these are, as you can see, different thickness, different color. Sometimes you can find something that's less extreme, but still lighter. This one is dark, this one is super light. So you can just adjust lengthwise where you want to start everything. This one I want to alternate pretty obviously, so I'll just cut those, but I want this darker one to be a little bit thicker. So let me just find something that I like more. Just find, okay, I can use these lighter ones. The effect is basically like using a stripped peacock. Okay. So here, I'll cut those tips. I don't need them. Again. Okay, this top of the hook, I'll allow it to rotate a little bit on the top or on the far side. That's both are okay. I want to prevent tail from spinning, but even if it spins, if it loses the center, it's okay. As you can see, there is nice taper, and it's also nice and flat. Now let me just see if everything is right here. Yes, it is. And I'll start wrapping. I don't want to touch the... Okay, let them go together. I don't want to touch the tails. I also want them to touch together. And of course, in front of the camera, it always goes a little bit more difficult than it actually goes when I'm not using the camera. Just gonna try to push it. But even though I did it, I have a little gap over here, which I hate. Okay. There is a gap, but it's okay. It's a tiny little one. And as you can see, those colors are alternating very nicely. And the sound is very annoying. Okay. I can even go with my rotation. Now I want to see where it stops. Then just 2 reps are enough to hold this in position. And now instead of breaking it off, because it can pop out under these 2 reps, I just want to cut it with scissors. And that's it. Very simple. Now let me see if the tail is proper. It is. There is a way, obviously, to take care of the tail if it's not centered. I'll show you in a second. I'm creating whip finish and also hotspot. So in case I'm not satisfied with the width of the whip finish as a hotspot, I'll just add a couple of more reps. It's better to start with less reps than with too many reps. And this thread darkens beautifully like wine when it gets cured by UV glue. That's it. Thin, slender. That's it. Now, even if your tail run off center, you can do this one is okay. You can just hold it in place when you're curing it with UV glue and it will be good, but it's always good to know how to tie things without need to correct them later on. Just tiny little bit of glue. What I like to do is I like to touch near the bead and I go around, creating like a collar of UV around the bead, around the hook, and then just guide it where you need it towards the tail. And this will give you nice taper and you'll cover everything. Obviously, if you need more glue, you can add. The thinner, the better. Now, you can also use bucktail for this. And bucktail is actually quite good for smaller flies. I love it. I'll just add a tiny little bit to create just a nicer transition around here. Nothing else. It's aesthetics, it's nothing else. Okay. Yeah, this looks nice. Zap it, cure it, call it whatever. It's yours. Mooseman Perdigon. So guys, hope you liked this video, hope you enjoyed it, learned something new. If you did, please share it with your friends and comment down below because it does help my channel grow. Until next time, tight lines and keep safe.